Welcome to Virtù House. I'm Erin Miller, and I'd like to take a moment to explain who we are, why this project exists, and what we hope it might become. Virtù House began with a simple but deeply important belief. Education matters not only for careers, but for citizenship, for human flourishing, and for the preservation of free societies. Over many years of teaching history, historical reasoning, and political thought, I became increasingly concerned by something I saw happening across education and in public life. Many students were exposed to information, but fewer were being taught how to think historically, how to evaluate evidence, how to reason carefully, how to question assumptions, or how to participate meaningfully in civic life. And that matters historically because republics do not survive through the strength of their founding alone. They survive through habits of thought, through citizens capable of reasoning, questioning, debating, learning, and governing themselves responsibly. Part of the inspiration for the name, Virtù House, emerged while teaching and leading discussions on Niccolò Machiavelli's The Prince. Machiavelli famously argued that conquering a republic often required destroying its people completely, because free societies possess strong civic traditions and collective memory. But over time, I began thinking about a different danger facing our republic. A republic gradually weakens when citizens are encouraged to confuse comfort with freedom, conformity with civic virtue, or ideological certainty with genuine understanding. Because freedom requires the practice of personal responsibility. Because the cultivation of responsibility and self-reliance often becomes part of how human beings discover purpose, dignity, and character. A free republic depends upon citizens capable of reasoning independently, questioning authority, examining evidence, dissenting openly, cultivating self-reliance, forming convictions of their own, and participating meaningfully in civic life. When citizens gradually lose the confidence, ability, or freedom to think critically and independently, something essential begins to erode beneath the surface of public life. People may continue participating outwardly in society, while gradually losing the intellectual and moral habits that sustain self-government. And at the center of that freedom is liberty of conscience, perhaps the most fundamental freedom a human being possesses, because it protects the individual's ability to think, reason, question, and pursue truth according to conscience, rather than coercion, conformity, fear, or dependence. Without that freedom, education risks becoming mere training rather than genuine intellectual formation. And without citizens capable of independent thought, a republic becomes increasingly vulnerable to manipulation, ideological conformity, historical amnesia, and passive dependence upon institutions or authority figures to think on their behalf. The word virtù in Renaissance political thought referred not simply to morality, but to cultivated excellence, strength of character, wisdom, discipline, judgment, prudence, adaptability, and the capacity for meaningful action in the world. Virtù House was built around the belief that education should help develop those capacities. Not indoctrination, not blind cynicism, not empty credentialism, but thoughtful, historically informed, intellectually serious education, rooted in humility, evidence, dialogue, and human dignity. At Virtù House, we believe history matters because it teaches perspective. It reminds us that human beings are complicated, that societies rise and fall, that freedom is fragile, that institutions matter, and that ideas shape the world across generations. Our goal is not to teach students what to think. Our goal is to help people learn how to think, carefully, historically, ethically, and independently. That mission shapes everything we create: our courses, lectures, historical materials, books, public scholarship, and educational resources. We believe rigorous education and accessible education should not be opposites. We believe historical scholarship should remain connected to the public, and we believe intellectual humility is one of the most important qualities both historians and citizens can possess. Virtù House is still growing, but its ambition is large. We hope to build thoughtful educational materials, historically grounded public scholarship, accessible humanities education, and a learning community rooted in curiosity, rigor, humility, and civic responsibility. Because ultimately, education is not only about employment. It is about forming thoughtful human beings capable of participating meaningfully in the inheritance and future of a republic. And that, more than anything else, is why Virtù House exists.